possibly could for you. And we did a little bit of a summary. So I'm going to be holding this also as I come around, so feel free to take pictures if you want this for memories. I'll also have it as you're getting off the boat on the dock. So let's start with what we saw today. We saw 6 to 9 humpback whales. I would have been happy if there was only one, but we had up to 9. And so why there's an estimate, so we're scientists. Throughout the entire trip, we're collecting data on these animals. So the 6 to 9, 6 is our low end, 9 is our high end. We don't want to say there's 9 unless we can absolutely confirm that each individual was unique. And you guys saw, those whales were all around the boat. We had a couple come in from a distance, coming in nice and close, then slipping out of the area. So again, this is us just giving a conservative estimate. There absolutely were more whales out there. So among our whales, we got quite a few IDs for you. Also, big shout out to my co-naturalist, Madeline, who got these IDs. She is the ID queen. Got them so fast, give it up. So we're up there, we're collecting data, we have access to the catalog, right? And so the first group that we had for pretty much our entire tour, we had our friend Pele. And we drew up a little example of Pele's fluke for you. So as you can see, it's really messy. It's also very asymmetrical, right? So on this side, it's just a bunch of black, but if you look right here, see that dot? That is how he got, that's his mnemonic, that's his diagnostic, how he got his namesake. I personally don't see the stick figure. This is supposed to be a leg, and that's a football. Americans call it a soccer ball. So this is just an example of Pele. I personally think he has one of the most beautiful flukes in the whale world. Also, he was in an association, remember, a temporary grouping with A+, and A+ is 2026 calf. That calf does not have a name yet. We typically wait past until they're at least 2 years old to give them a name. During the first 2 years of their lives, there's a very high mortality rate among humpback whale calves. So we just kind of wait for them to get through that first long period of vulnerability before we give them a name. Typically around 5 is when we'll start to name them. Also, that second group of animals, again, big shout out to my co-naturalists who got the name of, remember Funky dorsal fin I was calling them? So we had Pitcher, and we also had Cygnus. So thank you so much for getting that. It would have taken me hours to find that ID. And so we did have more whales, but we haven't quite got IDs on them just yet. What I will say though, is that our company, we're gonna start posting blogs to our website at Boston Harbor City Cruises. So you can actually look up the day that you were on that whale watch and get like a full summary of all the IDs that we get in our post-data cleanup. Also, behaviors, what didn't we see today? We saw a lot of really high fluking dives, which I will say A+'s calf gave us a lot of fluking dives. Typically this time of year, we don't see them bringing their flukes as high. So whales, specifically humpback whales, throughout their lives, their fat content can vary. An adult humpback whale that has a really hefty fat content on their bodies of blubber, they're what we call positively buoyant, meaning that fat helps them to float in the water, right? Because we know oil and water does mix, right? So that helps them to float. When they're younger, they don't always need, so when they bring their fluke up, that's like a push down into the water. Think if you were trying to take a dive and you had swimmies on your arms, you would need an extra push to get down. So that's kind of what the larger humpback whales are doing. When they're younger, they don't have as much fat on their bodies, so they don't necessarily need that big push. So to see a calf's fluke like that, nice and clear, this time of year, super rare. We see that later in the year, once they start to get a good healthy blubber layer. So super special. I'm sorry to freak out about that, but I think it's awesome. We also had several whales give us a really, really close boat approach at a few different times. I hope you got to see them up close. Also, we had probable subsurface feeding. We can't say for sure because we weren't down in the depths with these whales, right? But based on their behaviors, the amount of surfacings and the activity, what we suspect is that they were feeding at depth. Probably on small fish, but we can't say for sure because we're scientists and we didn't observe it, but they were most likely feeding. As if it couldn't get any better, the grand finale, that little baby, which we still have not got an ID on yet, that last little baby was just thrown a fit. Like you saw, there was a tail being thrown out of the water. We saw tail breaching. We saw quite a few of the good looks at the baby's pectoral flippers. Gotta say, guys, it really doesn't get much better than that. This is a phenomenal trip. So, with that said, does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask? I'm happy to try to answer. Anybody? All right, so we're gonna come around, just talk to you guys individually. If you have any questions, be sure to have them ready for us. But yeah, cool. Thank you so much, guys.